7 days of airstrikes, Israel's bombardment of the Gaza Strip has killed at least 2,200 Palestinians and wounded more than 8,000. It's been a week since Hamas launched its unprecedented military operation by land, air and sea against Israel. 1,300 Israelis have been killed, including foreign nationals. Well, graphic images have emerged showing the moment an airstrike hit one vehicle where a young girl was being treated. A warning: viewers may find the following footage distressing. Yes, the Palestinian Health Ministry says ambulances have come under direct and systematic attacks in violation of international law. It says 23 ambulances and 15 medical facilities have been hit. 15 health workers have been killed. This is northern Gaza, which is home to the Jazeera refugee camp. It is the largest in the Strip, and 116,000 people live there. The Jazeera refugee camp is one of Gaza's most crowded. It's also in the north, along with a large number of UN facilities and hospitals that include the enclave's largest, the Al-Shifa hospital. Israel wants all those in hospitals treating injured patients and sheltering displaced families to be evacuated to the south of Wadi Gaza. But with so many displaced Palestinians fleeing to southern Gaza, the conditions there, of course, are pretty dire. Khan Yunis in southern Gaza is one of the places where people in the north have been told to head for, but Israeli airstrikes have been pounding residential buildings there too. At least one Palestinian was killed and several injured in an attack just hours ago. Well, joining us on the phone now from Gaza, from Khan Yunis, in fact, is our correspondent Yumna Al-Sayed. She's in Khan Yunis, as I say, in South Gaza. So, Yumna, just give us an impression of, first of all, the journey that you made to the south, and now you're there. What are the scenes? What's happening?
Well, Nick, the journey wasn't easy at all. I mean, we knew that we had to get out of our homes under bombardment with our kids. We knew that it wasn't even safe to get to Khan Yunis as we were ordered, because the bombardment hadn't stopped at all. The bombardment was ongoing in Gaza City. It was ongoing in the north. It was ongoing in the south. So we were basically driving under bombardment. Yesterday, when I evacuated, a couple of hours later, 2 cars, civilian cars, were also bombarded while they were evacuating south. While now, the couple of hours that the Israeli military gave to the people of the north in Gaza City, over 1 million people, to evacuate, were, of course, not easy, especially that people had to check which routes to take and which roads to drive in and which streets to go into. Streets that were not bombarded yet, and streets that were relatively safe from bombardment. So it did take us a lot of time to drive all the way from Gaza City till Khan Yunis. We made it here safely, but there's thousands more who are still trying to take the Strip to come to Khan Yunis. These hours, also the morning hours, have witnessed a lot of people trying to evacuate from the north and Gaza City because of the heavy bombardment in these areas. But also the bombardment hasn't stopped in central Gaza and in the south as well, Nick. Just like you said, hours ago, a home was still bombarded here in the south. But let me just give you the latest update about the bombardment casualties in the past half an hour. In the past half an hour, we have a home that was bombarded for a Rehan family in the north of Gaza City, and then we have also in another home that was bombarded in the central Gaza City in Deir al-Balah, and dozens of injuries have resulted from that bombardment. While the Ministry of Health is saying that there are dozens of casualties between killed and injured in another massacre in the central part of Gaza City in a residential neighborhood. So the bombardment is still ongoing, while
Right.
the threat and the warning of the evacuation is also still ongoing, Nick.
Of course it is. You've had to flee south, of course, while doing your job as a journalist, and yet you're experiencing, like everybody else there, the depth of this challenge of evacuating south and looking after your family while you're doing it. And it's tough enough for adults. What about the children, mate? What do you even tell them?
It's very tough for the children, Nick. I mean, having to take the children like that very early in the morning and barely taking anything. Like, we just took necessities with us. Little food that we could spare, some bread, some little food that we could take from our fridges because we don't want anything to spoil, some clothes that we were able to take. But then leaving their home like that in such horror under the bombardment and coming even here, we're talking about now the Gaza Strip, a place without electricity, without water, without internet. How difficult can it be for adults? How terrible is it for the young ones and the kids to live in such a place now? And there's an acute shortage of food and supplies everywhere. So it's not like we can buy them everything they want or whatever they want. There's a shortage of everything. Living under really, really difficult humanitarian conditions now is the entire population of the Gaza Strip, Nick.
Yumna, thanks for that update there from Khan Yunis in the south of Gaza. Yumna El-Sayed, our reporter. Let's speak to another one of our reporters, also in Gaza, Safwat Al-Khalut. Safwat, I understand you have an update for us.
Yes, I was just talking to one Palestinians holding a foreign nationality in Gaza. He told me that last night they received emails from their embassies. He confirmed to me that all the foreign nationalities in Gaza, including Europeans, Canadians, Americans, and even Chinese, they were informed about a new arrangement that their embassies or their foreign ministries arranged with the Israeli foreign ministry to allow the foreigners in Gaza, I'm talking about Palestinians also who hold foreign nationalities, that they can leave the Gaza Strip between midday today in Gaza, the Gaza time, which is 8 GMT timing, until 11 GMT, so they have like 3 or 4 hours to leave the Rafah crossing. The guy or the friend, he told me that when they arrived to the Rafah crossing, they informed that the arrangement has been cancelled and they are waiting for new instructions from their government or from their foreign ministries. He told me that the way to reach Rafah crossing was not easy and that they have received special coordinates that were provided by Israeli army, or that they have to follow special coordinates, a special path to avoid direct targeting by the Israeli army.
And Safwat, as you report that news, you also have made the journey down to Khan Yunis. What has your experience been there?
Look, as you know, I managed to reach the south of the Gaza Strip, or specifically the central area, which is very attached to the south. More or less 1 hour and a half ago, there was a heavy shooting or heavy bombardment, and then we realized that the target was a house. The ministry or the ambulances rushed in. I could hear them from where I'm staying. Then we realized that the target was a family, and they're not warning the residents of the family there. So there are casualties, at least 3 dead and 7 other injured. Some of them are in critical condition. The ambulances are still there trying to pick up or to grab some of the bodies of the casualties.
All right, Safwat, we'll leave that for the time being. Thanks very much, Safwat Al-Khalut there, reporting from Khan Yunis in Gaza. Well, Hamas has fired more rockets from Gaza into southern Israel. This was the scene in the city of Ashkelon after rockets struck some areas. There are no reports of casualties. Let's bring in Stephanie Decker, who's in Ashkelon in southern Israel, close to the border with Gaza. So, Steph, where you are. Tell us what the situation is and what's happening.
Around 3 heavy barrages of rockets since we arrived here about 2 hours ago. One as we were driving into the city, another one, and then just in the last 45 minutes or so, a very heavy barrage. We went into the bomb shelter, which is something that is all across the cities along the border that Israelis have access to. And there were multiple interceptions right over our heads. The bomb shelter shook. 6 or 7 interceptions. This is a city that has been heavily targeted by rocket fire. You can see some of the impact that it's had here over the last 5 or 6 days or so. Marina can show you across the way, and then here as well at the top of this residential building, there was a hit, and more, particularly in this area, more impacts. Now, a lot of people remain here. They tell us that they don't want to leave. They want to remain in their homes. One man we spoke to said, you know, if I could guarantee that my family was safe, I would take up a gun and join the fight. But I can't do that. The people on this side of the border, Nick, are in shock at what happened at the attack by Hamas, the fact that their military couldn't protect them for so long. So the people are completely in shock, and they're very much behind this military offensive. They are very much behind eliminating Hamas completely. We've heard from the Israeli army saying this is their target. Of course, we have seen multiple wars on Gaza over the years. This time everything is different. The army saying that what is its goal is to fully eliminate Hamas and its leadership. So this is something that they say is the end game. Of course, when it comes to Gaza, it really does need a political solution to change anything. But that's what everyone will tell you here, both Israelis and Palestinians, that everything has changed here. Things are unpredictable. Things are very dangerous. And nobody really knows what's going to happen next. We are expecting a ground offensive at some point. Now, reading between the lines, you heard what Safwat said there. We've also been hearing this from some sources, that they're very close to reaching a deal to allow dual nationals and foreign nationals who hold US, other European nationalities to exit through the Rafah border crossing with Egypt. Now, perhaps you could assess that a ground offensive maybe wouldn't happen before that gets achieved. But certainly the military build-up around here, extensive. The biggest build-up, the biggest call-up of reservists in Israel's history. And just to update you, there's been also 2 infiltrations, 2 Palestinians shot dead in Al Oz, which is close to the Gaza border, which still gives you a sense that there is still, the army still hasn't been able to fully secure the border areas when it comes to infiltrations.
Steph, we seem to be playing something of a waiting game now. What do you see in terms of Israeli military preparations?
Yes, well, along the border, certainly extremely heavy build-up, tanks, APCs, artillery. Yesterday we were at an artillery position, constant bombardment of outgoing. And you can hear it all along the border, a lot of airstrikes, a lot of artillery, but it's not managing at the moment, certainly, to eliminate the rocket fire that is still consistently coming out of Gaza to these areas, even Tel Aviv earlier today, which is, of course, more long-range rockets being used.
All right, Steph, thanks for that. Steph Decker reporting that. Thank you.